Welcome back once again. Now let's continue with the questions where we left yesterday. The function h is defined by h of x equal to 4x plus 28. The graph of y equal to h of x in the xy plane has x-intercept at a comma 0 and y-intercept at 0 comma b, where a and b are constants. What is the value of a plus b? They are saying that this is the equation of a straight line. By the way, what is the general equation of a straight line? We write y equals to mx plus b, where m represents the slope, which is can also said to be rise over run, and b represents y-intercept. And y-intercept is the point where the line crossing y-axis. If I roughly represents the graph of the equation according to them, how it can be represented as, you can say this is y-axis, x-axis, and definitely the line will be representing like this. So it will be something like this. So this is the equation of the line which has been given. The line where it is crossing the y-axis, which is same like h of x equals to 4x plus 28. In this case, y-intercept itself is the 28. So they are saying this coordinate is 0 comma b. The value of b in this case is going to be 28, I can say, because that itself represents the y-intercept. Now the line is also crossing the x-axis at this point. The coordinate point here it is a comma 0. So how do we solve for a value? Substitute a at the place of x as a and at the place of y or h of x as 0 in the given functions equation, and then solve for it. So that is h of x equal to 4x plus 28. If you substitute the coordinate of this is generally x value and this is y value, y is same as h of x, because they said that the graph of y equal to h of x. So that is, if I am substituting those values, 0 is equals to 4 times a plus 28. If you rearrange it, 0 equal to 4a plus 28. After taking that a to the other side, it becomes negative 28 is equals to 4a. So divide by 4 on either side, you will be getting value of a is what? Negative 7. So value of a here is negative 7 and b already we found it as 28. What is the value of a plus b then? That is gonna be negative 7 plus 28, which is equals to 21. So make sense with option A. An economist modeled the demand Q for a certain product as a linear function of selling price P. The demand was 20,000 units when the selling price was $40 per unit, and the demand was 15,000 units when the selling price was $60 per unit. Based on the module, what is the demand in units when the selling price is $55 per unit? So we have to create a linear function for the given data. Based on that, predict what would be the demand value, or what is the demand when the unit price is gonna be $55. As I can see here, Q value when it is 20,000, the value of P at that time it's gonna be $40. When the 20,000 demand, $40 was the price. When 15,000 demand, P value will be $60 according to that. So now by using these data, we have to create a function and equation, by the way. So if I am considering these are the initial values P1, Q1, Q2, P2, you can find out the slope and the y-intercept. As they clearly said, it's a linear function. You have to create a function in this way, y equal to mx plus b, or I can also write it as, according to this, q is equals to px plus a constant. By making use of this, find the slope and find the y-intercept, so that in that equation you can substitute values of P to predict what would be the value of Q at that time. Okay, so here we supposed to find a slope. How do we find a slope? Generally, rise over run, or we can say y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. In our case, we have to do it as Q2 minus Q1 divided by P2 minus P1. Substitute them. What are you gonna get? Q2 value is gonna be 15,000. I think we need a more space, so let me write it down. Here I need it as 15,000 minus 20,000 divided by 60 minus 40. So the difference is negative 5,000 divided by 20, that gives us negative 250. So that is the price which is decreasing, negative 250 per unit when the cost increases. Okay, so then this equation becomes Q equals to negative 250 times P plus B. By using any of these values, any one pair, you can solve what was the initial price, because that is also needed. So if I'm using this as the initial information, where Q was 20,000 and P was 40, you can just write it as 20,000 is equal to negative 250 times 40 plus B. So you can use the Desmos calculator. As we are solving only for one variable, you can type that B as X and you'll be getting the answer. If not, you can just simplify it together. So 20,000 equals to, like when we say 250 times 40, that gives me 10,000. So I can rearrange it as 20,000 equal to negative 10,000 plus B. So when you take it to the other side, turns to be positive. So 20,000 plus 10,000 is equal to B. So in short, I'm getting a value of B as 30,000. So initial price or initial value for this is 30,000. Now what is our equation now? Our equation what we got in terms of Q is Q equals to negative 250 times P plus 30,000. Now they are asking me, with referring to this, what would be the number of units when the price was $55. You need to simply replace P with $55. Then it becomes negative 250 multiply with 55 plus 30,000. So you can just put it in the Desmos calculator. You can just type negative 250 multiply with 55 plus 30,000. I'll be getting 16,250. So the price, like number of units sold at the price of $55 will be 16,250. So we should go with option A. So that is the reason they have considered the difficulty level of this question was harder. It needs a lot of calculations, and I was able to relate the given information to this equation because it has been stated that the function is linear, which represents the constant increment or decrement. So that's the option A to this question. The equation shown gives the estimated amount of diesel D in gallons that remains in the gas tank of the truck after being driven X miles, where X is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 480. What is the estimated amount of diesel in the gallon that remains in the gas tank of the truck when X is equals to 300? So I simply need to replace X with 300 in this equation. So what it is, D equal to 16 minus 300 divided by 30. This is the equation to calculate the amount of gasoline left in the tank. They have been given to us. So which is same as 16 minus 300 divided by 30. You can take a help of Desmos, or you can manually solve 300 divided by 30 is gonna be 10. So 16 minus 10, it's gonna be 6. So after driven for 300 distance, so the diesel left in the tank is 6 gallons. So we should go with option B. The cost of renting a backhoe for up to 10 days is $270 for the first day and $135 for each additional day. Which of the following equation gives the cost y in dollars of renting the backhoe for x days where x is a positive integer and less than or equal to 10? They are asking you to set up an equation for the given situation, and they are saying that difficulty level here it is hard. So how do we write it? See, equation, that is the total cost, is equivalent to, if the backhoe is rented for 10 days, first day has to be paid $270 and the remaining days has to be paid $135. If a person is renting backhoe for x number of days, which equation is gonna be used? That's they are trying to say. So I'll be writing it as first 270 plus, let's take a person is renting a backhoe for x number of days, or let's say 8 days. Out of that 8 days, 1 day's cost has been already counted here, plus you have to put it as 7 multiplied by 135, like that. But as they are telling us a person is renting for x number of days, out of that x number of days, first day's cost already included, so number of days left will be x minus 1, this value multiply with 135. Okay, that is the cost for the remaining days. If you simplify this, what it is gonna be, 270 plus, distribute it carefully, x multiplied by 135, that gives me 135x. 135 multiplied by -1, it's gonna be -135. So simplify it further. Always we write a variable first, that is gonna be 135x. Just by doing this, I get rid of option A, option B, because they are writing 270 each, and 270 minus 135, that gives me plus 135. So 135x plus 135 makes sense with option D as the answer. The front of a roller coaster car is at the bottom of the hill and is 15 feet above the ground. If the front of the roller coaster car rises at a constant rate of 8 feet per second, which of the following equation gives the height h in feet of the front of the roller coaster car s seconds after it start up the hill? So we are asking us to set up an equation. So initial position of the roller coaster is 15 feet above the ground, and after that the roller coaster increasing the distance by 8 feet per second. With that situation, which equation I can use to calculate the height of the roller coaster's front for s number of seconds? So height is representing by h, so per second it is covering 8 feet, so the total number of distance covered in s number of seconds is going to be 8 multiplied by s, plus, like initially it was 15 feet, so 8s plus 15, that is the equation which will be used. Makes sense with option A. So that is 8s plus 15 is the right equation which is model for this situation.